they want to make it everybody else's fucking problem. The reason why villains like Kenjaku, Gendo, Aizen, and even Emperor Chucky are all using some sort of forced merger to reach their goals actually has a lot to do with enlightenment, specifically a deeply egoic expression of enlightenment. One, and I cannot stress this enough, just one particular aspect of enlightenment has to do with a kind of falling away of the ego followed by a falling away of the self. What this would subjectively and experientially feel like is a merging with everything. The ego and the self both exist as a means of creating a sense of separation between you and everything else, and they function as a survival tool to cut the world into pieces and make it usable so that we don't die. This eventually becomes kind of spiritually limiting because we get caught up in all the ideas and the things that we created. We get attached to the certainty, not only of all the stuff out there, but because it only exists in our mind, we essentially also become attached to all the stuff in here, our thoughts, our emotions, our sensations. So spiritually speaking, one aspect of enlightenment is the loosening of those attachments, causing a kind of merger with everything out there. This is also fundamentally an inevitability of the human experience. We're all going in this direction unconsciously. The purpose of spiritual technologies is to help us take this journey consciously. But like we said before, the purpose of the ego is to create a hierarchical sense of selfishness to help us survive. And so these villains are usually deeply egoically involved, making them hyper obsessed with the physical, literal nature of their experience, which is to say, instead of taking that journey to enlightenment internally, they want to make it everybody else's fucking problem. And so they look at means of spurring this evolution on by essentially forcing some kind of merger onto the outside world. Kenjaku just wants to see what happens, Gendo and Chucky want to escape pain, and Aizen wants to use the external device of the Hogyoku to merge the realms within him, but also take over as the Soul King and rule all these realms underneath the weight of his own ego. Ambitions that become deeply problematic for a ton of reasons, but the chief among them is that they remove the choice away from people. If you're ever looking for a bad guy, it's almost always going to be the person who's not only attached to the certainty of their choice, but also with the fact that they are singularly qualified to make that choice. The good guys will almost always be embracing their own uncertainty and be buoyed and lifted up by a community of people around them.